a little concerned. What's going on, you guys? My name is Megan. This is This Past Romance, and today's video is my books that surprised me video. These are books that I did not expect to like when I read them. I have a list of books that I am surprised that I liked and that other people are surprised that I liked. We'll kick that one off first, and then I also have a short list of books that surprised me that I didn't like that I thought that I would. Let's start with the books that actually surprised me, that it surprised me that I liked them. The first one on the list is Little Dove by Layla Frost. I borrowed this book from Tamika, number 1. It started with a kidnapping, and it was Daddy Kink. And Tamika and I were talking about it yesterday, and I was telling her, you know, kind of this was my idea. And she was like, I'm really surprised that you liked that book as much as you did. I loved Little Dove. I loved that book. It was amazing. I don't remember their names, and I didn't write it down. He kidnaps her, kind of, and keeps her till she turns 18, and he informs her, you know, you're allowed to leave. Like, we don't have to do this, and I'll take care of you still, but if you want, we can have this kind of relationship. And she's like, yes, I want to have that kind of relationship with you. Are you serious? So they have a Daddy Kink relationship where he takes care of her, not in like a DDLG way. That's one of his like hard no's. He's like, I can't do age play. I don't do age play. And she's like, well, I don't want to. So the thing I liked most about this book, and this is what I told Tamika, was that there was an open and honest conversation about what Daddy Kink can be versus what kind of society thinks that it is. You know, there's people who just call somebody daddy. There's the I just want to take care of you, let me take care of you aspect of the relationship. And then there's like the age play stuff. And I feel like the age play is what a lot of people think of. And that's not necessarily what Daddy Kink is. So I appreciated that. I loved this book so much. I've talked about it I don't know how many times. I loved Little Dove. It was great. Another book that really surprised me was I Married a Lizard Man by Regine Abel. I fully walked into this expecting to be like, this book is absolutely ridiculous, because it's the first book I've ever read like this. And it was fantastic. It was so cute and so sweet. I'm still baffled by how cute and sweet it was. I Married a Lizard Man. I don't remember the names. I didn't write down the names. Like, why do I do this? I do this to myself all the time. I don't put names on stuff. It makes me crazy. They both went to a matchmaker service, and the heroine was matched with him, and she was told by the matchmaker service, you know, you're from a farmland, like you do farming, you know a lot about farming. His people don't do that. Good luck. They need you basically to go in and show them that farming is okay. She does all this research, and then Olex tells her like why they don't farm and why like people are going to be standoffish about her farming, but he's going to try to talk to him because he's the leader of the lizard people. It was really cute. His family was very supportive of their relationship, which I really enjoyed. It was something. It was really cute. It ended up being really cute. Like, I was like really standoffish about this in the beginning. It ended up being super cute. And now I'm afraid I'm going to read that one book. Bree talked about it a couple weeks ago. The Morning Glory Milking Farm or something like that. And like right after Bree talked about it, Andie J. Christopher talked about it on Instagram too. And I was like, oh my God, okay, maybe I'll have to read this. And I'm a little worried. I'm a little concerned. Next on the list is Can I Come Over by Whitney G. I didn't expect to like Whitney G as much as I do. I've read 2 Whitney G books. I read them on the same day. I listened to them on the same day. They were audiobooks. Listen. This one was Daddy Kink. And I don't remember their names. Again, I literally just have a list of books. Because I can't plan to save my life. I can do like one plan at a time. In this book, our heroine joined this pen pal service, and she was writing letters to this guy, and they end up deciding they're going to meet. He helps her write a romance book. he helps her write a sex scene for this romance book, and her best friend ended up like taking her phone and talking to him, sending him a letter. It's like, we need to meet, blah blah blah. So he sends her money, flies her to where he lives, and ends up being her dad's best friend. 20 out of 10, man. This book, fantastic. Fantastic. Whitney G nailed it. I was so shocked because, like, when I asked Tamika for book recommendations, it's hit or miss. It is hit or miss. And typically the ones she recommends that she thinks I'm going to like, I don't like quite as much as the ones that she's like, you're probably not going to like this. Except for the Lilith Vincent book. That's the first one that's kind of been like, no. I feel like I'm in the minority on that too. That I didn't like the Lilith Vincent book. And that's okay. I'm willing to be in the minority on that opinion. So I didn't care for First Comes Blood. I'm not gonna read the second book. I've already decided I don't care enough, and I'll just ask Tamika or Izzy or somebody that read it, hey, what happened? Who does she end up with? I don't care that much. But Can I Come Over was a Tamika recommendation. I actually received a text message from her that said, you have to read this right now. And so I got the audiobook and I listened to it right then. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. It was so great. So great. Another Tamika recommendation that came out of left field and nobody expected me to like as much as I have is It Ain't Me, Babe by Tillie Cole. This book was so dark that I'm still surprised I liked it. I still talk about this book way too much. I love this book. It is fantastic. The heroine was in a religious cult, and she had a name in the cult. They were too tempting to the men. So from the time they were like 7, they were separated from everybody else. There was this whole ritual. Heroine was supposed to get married, and she ends up escaping, and she almost dies. And the hero finds her behind a dumpster, but ends up, they had actually met. It opens with you seeing them meet when they're small children. They're like 10 and 11 or something. And they have their first kiss through a fence. This book, it was so good. He is part of a motorcycle club. She just got out of this religious cult. They bang like rabbits, but like a lot rougher than rabbits. I'm telling you. It Ain't Me, Babe has started my Tillie Cole obsession, and I have yet to read a Tillie Cole that I don't like. I've read 3 now, and I've not read one that I don't like. I need to read the second one. This is a part of a series, the Hades Hangman series. He is the first. It Ain't Me, Babe is the first book in that series. I love it. Can't tell you their names, but I love that book. Another one that I'm so embarrassed. I haven't talked about this book in a long time, but I actually have it physically on my shelf. And I should pull it, but I'm not going to get up and do it. Beard Science by Penny Reid. I swore that I would not read this book. I read the first 2 books. Truth or Beard and Grin and Bearded, I think, are the first 2. And I can tell you that I know their names. That's how much I love this book. Cletus is a secondary character in the first 2 books. And I specifically, I could probably pull up text messages where I told Tamika, I was like, I'm listening to these books and I really like them, but they want me to think that I'm going to fall in love with a man named Cletus. And I just can't do that. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. But then I just had to read it. And Cletus and Jen, I'm still mad about it. I'm still mad that I love it. Have I read the second book in their Solving for Pi series? No, of course not. Do I have Beard Science on my shelf because Tamika bought it for me for Christmas, signed by Penny Reid? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It is over there. But I swore I would not read that book because that man's name was Cletus. And then I read it like 4 times. In the words of Tamika last night when we talked about this, I think that was karma. And I don't think she's wrong. I think it was karma. And last, on the books that surprised me that I really enjoyed is Desperate Measures by Katee Robert. Now, I knew before I read Desperate Measures, I'm pretty sure I knew before I read Desperate Measures that I liked Katee Robert. I love her Touch of Taboo series. We know how much I love Katee Robert on this channel. I talk about it all the time. I love Katee Robert. Love her writing. She writes some of the best romance novels. and I love her. Desperate Measures it's the first book in the Wicked Villains series, and it's Jasmine and Jafar, and Aladdin is the bad guy. Holy moly. I could not stop listening to this book. So I listened to it on audio, and then I read it some because I was driving. I actually have a vlog of me reading this. I love this book. It was so fantastic. And I'm so surprised still to this day because it was kind of dark. And it had some like super taboo stuff. And I loved every second of it. Desperate Measures is fantastic. And if you haven't read it, read it. And if you want to listen to it on audio, the audiobook is amazing. It is amazing. Listen to me. Amazing. So now we have the books that it surprised me that I didn't like. I'm going to start off with one that really bothers me. That I didn't like this book. Because I wanted to like this book. I wanted to like this book so much. That's Not the Girl You Marry by Andie J. Christopher. I love the second book in this series so much. And this book is in my Chris Evans video. Where I talk about books that are like Chris Evans is like the main character. And it's still true. Jack Nolan. I remembered his name. Oh my god. I have it on my shelf too. But Jack is so much like Chris Evans that it still surprises me that I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I don't know if it was the headspace I was in. I don't know what it was. There's no reason for me not to have liked this book other than I just didn't. I had a hard time getting through it. I had a hard time reading it. I don't know if Hannah just wasn't a character that I liked. And I liked Bridget better as a character. I don't know. All I know is the first book in the series is Not the Girl You Marry. The second book is Not That Kind of Guy. The second book is amazing. The third book is Hot Under His Collar, and I haven't read it yet. It's a priest romance. I did just read Priest by Sierra Simone because it is discussed in Not That Kind of Guy as why this girl has the hots for the priest. So I'm excited to go back and read it. But Not the Girl You Marry really surprised me because it was a Chris Evans book. Jack Nolan is so based on Chris Evans. It's the book that kick-started my video. It's the book that I was like, I'm going to do this video because Katie Roberts said this guy's like Chris Evans. And he was. And I'm still just like, what? Why did I not like? I still don't understand. And maybe if I went back and like reread it or something, I would feel differently now. But for whatever reason, earlier this year, no, I'm still surprised that I didn't like this book. Next is Beard in Mind by Penny Reid. This is the fourth book in the Winston Brothers series, okay? We just talked about how much I thought I would love, how much I thought I wouldn't love Cletus's book. I thought I would love Beau's book. And I struggled to get through it. Her mental illness and my mental illnesses, they didn't mesh well. And so there was, I think her name's Shelly. I'm pretty sure her name was Shelly. But I just, for whatever reason, Beau's book was not what I thought it was going to be. I was so excited to read it because I loved Beau. And you know, through the first 3 books, all anyone talks about is how amazing Beau is and how great Beau is and how everyone loves Beau because he's X, Y, and Z and he's so attractive and so sweet and he knows everybody and he's just so charming. And then you get to his book and it was just the biggest letdown. I was like, oh my god, this book's gonna be amazing. And it's just the biggest letdown. I was so disappointed. And then I read book 5 and I've not read another one. I read Roscoe's book and I was like, no, I'm not finishing the series. I can't do it. Another one that I didn't like that I actually honestly thought that I would was Waiting for Tom Hanks by Kerry Winfrey. I love a good rom-com, okay? Love romantic comedies. Huge fan. Have always been. And this book, the girl is also a huge fan of rom-coms, but she's decided she's waiting for her Tom Hanks in, what is it? You've Got Mail. And so she's like, I'm waiting for this person. And she ends up working on a movie set somehow, like through her uncle or something. And she meets the star of the movie. He likes her, but he's just not her Tom Hanks. And that's the big thing. And we know, I've talked about it, I love celebrity romances. This just wasn't it. This just wasn't it. I didn't like it. I don't like it. I've not read the second book in the series. I don't want to. I just don't want to. Straight up. I saw it at Barnes & Noble like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, I have no desire to read you, because the first one was just so, I was so disappointed in the first one. And last, this is probably the one I'm not most disappointed in, because I think I'm most disappointed in Bearded Mind, but the Jake Ryan Complex by Bethany Crandell. This book, I feel like, had so much potential and just crashed and burned. I grew up watching 16 Candles. It's my mom's favorite movie of all time. I grew up watching it. I've watched it since I was like old enough to remember watching it. Anytime it was on television. My mom had it on VHS. She had it on DVD. Like, we watched it every time it was on TV. Like, we still do. If I'm home with her and 16 Candles is on, or if she is here with me and 16 Candles is on, we sit down and we watch it. It is her favorite movie. And I was so excited because I was like, Mom, I found this book. It's The Girls in Love with Jake Ryan. It's your Jake Ryan. It's Jake Ryan from 16 Candles and the red Corvette and the sweater vest and Jake Ryan and Sam. And no, this book was horrible. It was awful, and I'm so disappointed in it, because Jake Ryan to me has always been, or was Jake Ryan being like the epitome of like the movie boyfriend. For what reason, I don't know. Looking back on it now, he really didn't do anything. But it's my mom's favorite movie. And so I grew up like, Jake Ryan is just the greatest thing that's ever happened to anybody. And I'm still surprised that this book, I looked at my mom and I was like, don't do it. Just don't do it. I wouldn't read it. You're going to be really disappointed. So those were the books that surprised me. The books that surprised me that I really enjoyed them. And the books that surprised me that I thought I would really enjoy and I didn't. So if you guys have any questions, let me know down below. If you want to be my friend anywhere, all the links to my socials are down below. I am This Past Romance everywhere though. And yeah, until next time, be good to yourself, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye everyone.